Masechta Sanhedrin, Daf Samach Vav Amud Aleph. We're starting from the Mishnah. It's the fourth line from the top. By you, it might be the third line. You see the Mishnah right here. Zog the Mishnah. Amechalel es HaShabbos. Now we're going to add. The Mishnah is going to talk about more avedes upon which you're chayiv skila. Amechalel es HaShabbos. One who is mechalel the Shabbos upon which you're chayiv skila b'mezit. So if he was mechalel b'davar chayav ma'ozdeinei kares, on something that you would be chayiv the mezit kares, that's only if there was no edim, there was no hasra. So then you'll be chayiv kares. Aval sheyegase chatas, and he'll be chayiv on the sheyge chatas. Says Gemara Meklal, sagt the Gemara Meklal, the ikavida the chil Shabbos haber. Ve'ein chayav. From this, that the Mishnah gives all these conditions, implies that there is some kind of chilul Shabbos that you're not going to be chayiv b'sheigeg achatos and b'mezid without hasra, without edim kares. Mahi, what's that case? Says the Gemara Tchumen. In Tchumen, there's a machlekes if it's minatayra midrabanan. Says the Gemara Tchumen. So he says Tchumen there's a machlekes. There's a man that says it's minatayra, and since it's a minatayra Tchumen, but you're not going to be chayiv. You're not going to, according to most of the Chachamim, it's talking about the Rabbanan, Tchumen. According to Rabbi Akiva, it's a Yismin Atayra, but nevertheless, even according to Rabbi Akiva, you're not chayiv kares or chatas. Then you have one more case, which is Rabbi Akiva have ora. You remember we had a machlekes. It says in the pasuk loisasa komalacha, and then it says loisavaru eish. Why did the Torah single out loisavaru eish? It's already included in the pasuk of loisasa komalacha. So according to Rabbi Yossi, the reason why he singled it out is to tell you that the punishment is degraded when it comes to beer, when it comes to fire, that it's not going to be skila, it's going to be love, it's going to be a balkis if you did a b'mezid, but not like all the other malachas. That's according to Rabbi Yossi. Okay, there was another shita, of course, I think it was Rabbi Akiva, that said no, it's lechalik yatzis. Lechalik yatzis means that if you did all the malachis with one unawareness, that you're going to be chayiv for each and every single one. That's why the Torah singled it out. Okay, but Pel Mamish.
Is this short as Gemara here? What's this thing? It's very short.
Yeah, very short Gemara. Now it goes to the next Mishnah. Zog the Mishnah, Samach Vav Amud Aleph. Now we're down to around 10 lines from the top where it says Masnisin. Mishnah Habakalel of the Imai. Now he's telling you additional cases where you're going to be chayiv skila. Somebody who curses his father and mother, he's not going to be chayiv till he curses with one of the shemis Hashem that are miyuchid, like Shem Havaya, Yud Ke Vavke, or Shem Adnai, Ad Aleph Dalet Nun Yud. But that's the only time he'll be chayiv. But what if he cursed Hashem? Cursed a person, his father and mother, but only by the nickname, like Shakai, Tzvakai, Chanun, or Rachum. These are all names of Hashem, but these are kinuyim, or like nicknames. Huh? Rameya says he's chayiv skila, and Chacham paitim, and Chacham says he's not going to be chayiv skila. So man Chachamim, who is this shita? Who is this Chacham that patim for skila if he curses his father bikinoi by just saying Chanun? He curses his father by the name of Chanun, or Rachum, or Shakai, or Tzvakis. Says Rabbi Nachman Rabbi Yossi. It follows Rabbi Nachman Rabbi Yossi. The time that we learned in Rabbi Nachman Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Nachman Rabbi Yossi says, it says at the beginning of the pasuk. Let me just tell you the beginning of the pasuk. It says, "Me'noikev Shem Hashem." One who will curse in the name of Hashem, die you shall die. Ragim yirgim k'bay kol ha'ida. Kager, Ka'ezach, and then it finishes off. Bin Nakvei Shem, in this that he cursed Hashem's name, Yumas, he shall die. So what is this extra? Bin Nakvei Shem, Yumas. It's extra. Ma'atamud Leimah Shem. Why does it say, what is he coming to teach us again, Shem? He could have written Benikvei Yumas. We know we're talking about Hashem's name because of the pasuk, the beginning of the pasuk says, Benikvei Shem. And for the Gemara, leave it al mekawel of the imay shein chayiv achi kalaleim b'shem. to teach us one who curses father and mother, he's not going to be chayiv skila unless he cursed his father with the shem amyuchad, like we said Yud Kei Vav Kei or shem Adnai. Rav Meir argued. If you remember, Rav Meir said, what was the purpose of repeating it? To tell you that Yake Yosi, Yosi Yake Yosi. Yosi is like the 4 letters represents or corresponds to the 4 letters of the name of Hashem Yud Kei Vav Kei. So it has to be one. He has to, when he curses Hashem's name, it has to be one shame cursing another shame. That's what Rabbi Yossi said. But that's not over here. I'm sorry, that's what Rabbi Meir said. But Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Nachman says it's coming to teach us for somebody who curses his father and mother, he has to curse b'shem amyuchad, not with a kinoi. Okay, Tanu Rabbanim Migalant.
How does anybody know the Shem Amyuchad?
Tanu Rabbanim Migalant. Ish asher yikala l'sav v'esimei meisumas. A man who will curse his father and mother, he shall die. Ma tamad loima ish. Why does the pasuk say a double lashon ish? And the iman is lerabis bas. It's coming to include a daughter who curses the father, mother, or tumtum. Or tumtum is somebody, the skin is covered on the bottom, and you can't tell whether he's a zach or nakeva. Vandroigenis has both, has the zachrus and the nakrus. So even those that curse Hashem, their father and mother, the Shem Hashem, is also going to be chayiv skila. Yeah, what's ishish l'rabbis? That even those are going to be chayiv skila. Zok v'yimara asher yikala zav v'esimai ainli ela aviv v'imai. It says one who curses his father and his mother. So it's mashma only if he's cursing the father and mother together. How about aviv alone shalei imai? He curses the father without the mother, or even shalei aviv, or he curses the mother without the father. Menayin, how do we know he's going to be chayiv skila? Talmud later comes the pasuk and says, "Aviv ve'imay kilol davnav."
But you see, the pasuk is mechalik. Es aviv ve'simai. So you see.
Yeah, but he says that only if the mekala as of ve'simay means together. So he says the reason. How do we know that? So he says, how do we know it even separately they're going to be chayiv? Because it says before the aviv it says kilel, and it says after the imay kilel. Okay? It says, well, how does the pasuk say? Ish asher yikalel es aviv. So it says yikalel before aviv. And then he ends off as imay kilel. So you have a kilel for the mother, and you have a cursing before the mentioning of the father. And you have the word cursing after the mentioning of the mother, after the name, after imay. To teach us that for each and every one, you're going to be chayiv separately, even if you curse the father without the mother, or the mother without the father. Those are the words of Rabbi Yoshe. Rabbi Yoshe, he says no. You can learn it out like this. It implies as if it's both, only if they're both together. But it also means separately. Till the Torah, the only time that will mean, only if it's both together as one, only if the Torah says the word yachtov. Where do we see that? We find by Charisha, it says, Loi sachrish b'shoir u'v'chamer, and then it says yachtov. So if it says yachtov, then we know that's only if it's those two together. But if it doesn't say the word yachtov, it can mean even separately. Says Gemara, the Braisa continues to dash in the pasuk. It says, "Asher yikal."
Maybe I would say yachtov means when they're both together, not when they're separate. In other words, curse my father, curse my mother. But only if they're together, yachtov, when they're together.
No, it's talking about cursing. It's words. It's not totally if they're together or not. If he curses them as two together or singly, separately, or is only one of them. It says also in the pasuk, "Asher yikal asaf v'esimai mois yumas." It says Gemara, with which misa? Biskila, atoyim biskila, ayena ela b'achma mikol amud b'atayra, or perhaps it means one of the punishments that are mentioned in the Torah, like seifa, herek, chenek. How do you know it means skila? It says Gemara nemakan. It says benegay somebody who curses a father and mother. It says the word damov by. But never lahalan, and it says by oiv v'yidoini that we learned yesterday, demehem ba. So malahalam, just like by oiv v'yidoini, there. It says explicitly that it's biskila. It says v'rod moise balvan. So and it says the meyat afkan. So too by mikal avimay, where it says the same word. It's the gzeda shava. It means skila. Zog the yimad Oynish Shemaino. We only heard about the punishment, what the punishment is. As Hadamanayan. Where do we learn out? Because ain't ancient Elam Kain is hard. Mazhir, Elam Kain Mazhir. You can't punish unless there's a warning. Where's the warning for being Mekala Avein? Says Gemara Tamalem Alehim Loisekalo. Benasi Bamchaleisar. A Dayan you shouldn't curse, and a leader of your nation you shouldn't curse. Says Yemada. So let's explain the dasha. Im Haya Aviv Dayan. If the father was a Dayan, Areyu Bechal Alehim Loisekalo. He's included in the pasuk where it says a dayan, you shouldn't curse because the father is a dayan. If the father was a nasi, the father is a nasi. It's nasi but if he's not a dayan nor a nasi, where do we know that it's usher to curse him? And for the Gemara, Amarta Harei Atadon binyan av mishneim. We do a binyan av from both. A binyan av is from one that we learn from all over. Let's understand. What's the binyan av? He says like this. Loidei nasi kirei dayan. Loidei dayan kirei nasi. Meaning, loidei dayan kirei nasi. A dayan doesn't have the mile of a nasi sherei dayan. Or a dayan is stronger than nasi. Dayan atam mitzvah al-hayra aseh. A dayan you mitzvah to listen to his psak. And if not, you chai misa if you don't listen. Kirei nasi. You're not going to, if he gives a psak, you're not going to be chai misa. And a nasi is not like a dayan. When it comes to a nasi, you can't disrespect him. You can't rebel against him and try to take him over, throw him over. These are terrible things. There you chai misa if you go rebel against the nasi. No, you rebel, but you got to listen to Afapi that we're mitzvah on his hayra, on his psak, but the respect that you have for a nasi, you don't need for a dayan that you're going to say, oh, he was made of the malchus, he's chayv misa. No, that's only by a nasi. So you see, neither of the milas make it a reason for to be chayv misa. You can't say, oh, because he's a nasi, that's why he's chayv misa, because a dayan doesn't have that mile and you chayv misa against his psak. You can't say the psak is the reason because a nasi, even if you go against his psak, you're not chayv misa. So what do they have in common that we say the chayv misa? Shehein b'amcha, because they're part of the nation of Yidden that does what like a Yid is supposed to do, and therefore you're not allowed to curse him. And you're warned about cursing. Apani obvious avicha b'amcha. You can include avicha. He's also amcha. And that's why you're warned on not cursing him. We can learn. So you can learn out anoshim acherim from the tzad hashava between dayan and nasi. Says I can slug you up because shekein gedulas and garmelahem. Here we're talking about people in high positions. Good. We won't talk about the psak or mitzad nasi, but the pearl mamish, they're in higher positions than a layman. Says you want to have a layman. Therefore, the pasuk says loisekala chedesh. Boom lolim shebe'amcha hakos medav. The Torah is talking about the nidike, the lower levels, very low levels of loisekala chedesh.
You're not allowed to curse anybody.
You're not allowed to curse anybody, even the lowest. Here, you're taking the other extreme. He calls it over here shvolim. Okay, so umlalim hashvolim. Yeah. So could you then prove from a cheresh? The Torah warned not to curse him because of his problem. But a father who's not a cheresh, maybe you'll say there's no reason to curse him. So you'll say, Nas Medayin doesn't have this default of cheresh, and nevertheless the chayv misa. Are you going to hear Smala Nas Medayin Shekein Gedulas Garmela? You're going to say, oh, there you're not allowed to curse because they're in a very high position. Chedesh will prove you even in a low position, the extreme other side, meaning in the very low side, and nevertheless you chayv misa because I think back and forth. So what do we learn out from here? That anything that's be'amcha, you're not allowed to curse.
Why couldn't they say simple person? Don't curse anybody.
Chedesh took the other extreme. It took away all the saying, because they're gedulasam. Chedesh is the dichotomy,
Why can't the
the
Torah say,
opposite of Gedula.
"Lo sikala ish"?
Okay, so this is what it is. Then he's saying,
Isha.
Loide Zeh Kirei Zeh. We're not going to say the midah of Anas V'dayin. Says the Gemara, Loide Zeh Kirei Zeh. The midah of Anas V'dayin is not like the midah of a Cheresh, meaning they're not as low as a Cheresh. Forget that they're in a high position. Loide Zeh Kirei Zeh. And the midah of a Cheresh is not like Anas V'dayin. Nevertheless, you're not allowed to curse them. And you're still warned about cursing them. Afani avi avicha. So too, I'll include avicha shegam be'amcha or sheb be'amcha. He's also part of amcha. And you're warned not to curse him. In fact, when it comes to Shloga Batzad Shova, you don't need to show chumnis one of the other. You have to show any little thing to break that Tzad Shova. So look what he says. He says, look, this is just a little difference. They're all different types of people. They're not the norm. Cherish is the low end of it, and Nasi and Dayan is the high end of it. We're not talking about the average normal people. So how do you know to include Avicha? Says Gemara Ellen Kane. So if so, you're right. He says, we'll learn the Iser of cursing a father is Nichtev Kra Oy Elehim V'Cheresh or Nasi V'Cheresh. The Torah should have only written either a Dayan and a Cheresh or a Nasi and a Cheresh, because one of them, Elehim, a Dayan, you could have learned that from a Nasi, or a Nasi, or if it would have said Nasi, or if it would have said Elehim, you would have learned that a Nasi for the Dayan. Why do you need Elohim and Nasi and Chedesh? It's either have Elohim and Chedesh or Nasi and Chedesh. One is extra. Either the Nasi is extra or the Elohim is extra. What do I need it for? So since you have extra inyan b'negei not cursing, because Nasi, Dayan, and Chedesh, you know, so and you can't apply it to them. There's nothing to use the extra case, either a Nasi or Dayan. And the Torah says it. Since it's extra and you can't use it for its own inyan, then you use it to learn out that you're not allowed to curse a father.
What about the mother?
Same thing. Same thing. So the Gemara, Elohim. It makes sense according to the one that says Elohim loisikala is chayil, is going on a dayan. That Elohim is not going on a dayan. Kodesh, it's going on Hashem. Kuchbrichu. Ma'ikalameima. So what are you going to say then? Now it's not extra. Elohim is totally a different. It's not going on a dayan. It's going on HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And where do we see these? There is such a machlokes what Elohim means. The Tanya that we learned in the Braisa. It says Elohim. That says Elohim loisikalo choyel divrei Rabbi Yishmael. Rabbi Yishmael says when it says Elohim loisikalo, it's going on a dayan. You're not allowed to curse. Rabbi Akiva Ima, the word Elohim. Kodesh is going on HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Tanya, we learned in Abraisa that Rabbi Lezben Yaakov Ima as Hara Lamavarachas Hashem Menayin. From where do we know that you're not allowed to curse in the name of Hashem? Because it says in the pasuk Hashem's name, you're not allowed to curse. According to Rabbi Akiva in the first Braisa, and according to Rabbi Lezben Yaakov in the second Braisa, the word Elohim in this pasuk is connected with Hashem. So we don't have an extra pasuk to curse a dayan. So the Gemara Elohim Chel, according to the Gemara, so the Gemara wants to answer. According to the Gemara that says Elohim Loisikala is going on a dayan, so we can learn out Gama. We can learn out with a binyanav Kadesh Mechel, or it's even a Kavachem, but he uses a binyanav. If Chel, you're not allowed, dayan, you're not allowed to curse. I would say, because ain't ancient in adin. You're not allowed to. So he's using a binyanav. He uses the word binyanav. So if by chayil, if you already know by a dayan, you're not allowed to curse. So we learned that's a binyanav. Then you're not allowed to curse Hashem. According to Mandam, that says Elohim is going on Kodesh B'richu. The same thing. We learn out with a binyanav if chayil. I'm sorry. If Kodesh, you're not allowed to curse Kodesh, you're not allowed to curse a Dayan. Says Gemara, that's not, I don't understand that well. No, that kind of opinion doesn't jive with me. Elohim Chel, that Elohim is going on a Dayan, Gama Kodesh Mechel. We can learn Kodesh Mechel. Because if Chel, you're not allowed to curse, it's sort of like a Kavachem, it's a given, you're not allowed to curse Hashem. Elohim, it's going on Hashem. Kodesh. Gama Chel Kodesh. We can learn Chel from Kodesh. There's never such a thing. Dilma Kodesh Asa. Maybe for Kodesh, the Torah gave a warning not to curse Shem Hashem. But when it comes to Chel Adayin, we don't curse. How do you know? So Gemara, I hear your question, but in Cain, if it's the whole Issa was only going on Kodesh, Lichtei Kraya Elohim Lo Yisakel with one lamed. Why does it say my Lo Yisakel? Why does it say a double lamed? Shmami no Tarte. Obviously, he's come to teach us two. The double lamed is coming to because it could have said Lo Yisakel. Lo Yisakel was telling you not only aren't you allowed to curse Kodesh, you're not allowed to curse a Dayan as well. Yes, yeah. So you find Sakel also. Okay, Zok the Mishnah. One who lives with a Naira Hamurasa is not going to be Chayv Skila till she is a Naira or a Psula, virgin Mairasa, engaged, and she has to be in the father's house. Once she was given over to the Shluchim to bring her to the Baal's house, even though she didn't complete the marriage, because the completion of the marriage is only when she enters into the father's house, into the husband's hand. But once she left the father's hands, it's no more considered skila. It goes into like she's like she's married, and a married woman when commits adultery is chanek. Murasa, one who was engaged, that's bebeis aviyah, is skila. Yeah. Bo halav shnayim. If two people live with her, harishim is skila, hashini bechanek. The first one is beskila, and the second one is bechanek. And the Gemara is going to talk about that she still remained a psula even after the second one.
Why is the second chanek?
Because that she's married already. She's a biula. A biula doesn't. Right. Yeah. It says in the Torah that there will be a naida, a virgin, engaged to a man. So from this, that it says naida, what do we learn out? Not a begadas. A begadas won't be chayv skila. Psula. Only a psula can be chayv skila, not one who's a beula, not a woman who's a beula. Mayrasa, engaged, she cannot be married. Bebeis aviyah, prat, l'shekva mosa av, l'sheluchei habal, even though she didn't yet come to the house of the Baal. From 12 till 12 and a half.
That period is skila.
It's called skila. And she has to be a murasa, and a psula, and bebeis aviyah. But the moment she left the father's house, let's say the father gave it to the shluchim of the Baal, it's over. Rav Yehuda said in the name of Rav, Zoi Divi Rav Meir. These are the words of Rav Meir. But the Chachamim say, even a ketana is going to be chayv skila. How do you know the Mishnah is following Rav Meir? Nami, and by saying Achetei Naira is coming to exclude even a katana like a begeres, that she won't be chayv skila. Perhaps we go according to Rabbanan. Begeres v'sulay, and it's only excluding a begeres, but a katana is going to be also chayv skila maybe. Amalei Ravina said to Rabach Mediftei, if the kavanah of the Mishnah was only to be memayit a begeres. Look at the lashon of the Mishnah. Hay ein chayiv ad shetehei naira psula meirasa, till she'll become a naira. As long as she's not a naira, so ein chayiv ela al naira psula meirasa mebayalei. If why say ad? Ad means she's not going to be chayiv till she's a naira. If you want to say that she's chayiv even as a katana, it should have said al naira psula mebayalei. The sulay made and nothing more. It would have meant a katana as well. By saying ad, you're making a miyut. Only till she grows up to be a naira. Rabbi Yaakov Rabad, I asked the shayla from Rav, ala katana me'erasa, on a katana that's engaged. What's the din? Legami me'maytle, is she totally excluded from any punishment? Oy meskila b'maytle, only she's excluded from the punishment of skila because she's engaged. An engaged woman, a psula is chayiv skila, but she's a ketana. So you said as a ketana we exclude completely from punishment, or she gets chenek. Says the Gemara, Amalei mistabra. It's reasonable to say meskila b'maytle. Ameyu only excluded her from the punishment of skila, but she does get chenek. I mean, not she, the man that lived with her. She's not a baronchin, basonchin. She's a ketana. How could you say that the man is going to be chayiv? It's mashma. You don't punish the man unless both of them are getting punished. That means till both are bnei einshin. And since she's a ketana and she's not bnei einshin, we should part to the man that lived with her.
And the naida is basonchin.
No, a naida, yeah, sure, it's a basonchin, yeah. Shasik Rav kept quiet. He didn't know what to say. Shmuel, my time is Shasik Rav. Why did Rav keep quiet? He could have answered Rabbi Yaakov Rabbalda. The Torah says, "Umeisa ish asher shachav imo levadai." So over there it's mashma that even the man alone gets killed.
By what case is that?
So he brings down one who's ma'anis anaira, somebody who rapes anaira arusa. So only he's going to get punished. And he's chayiv misa, even though she's not chayiv anything. He raped her. She didn't do it willingly. Okay.
So she's not chayiv. Period. So what is that? What's the raya from here?
So you wanted to say the only time she could be chayiv. What was his upshlag? He said mistabim meskila memayla, but the man gets chenek. So what did he ask on now? Umeisugam shneim. It says that the only time he can get punished is only if she is. Says he, well, it's not true. Look. You find by Anusa, what does it say? Ha'oines nai amrasa, right? V'im basada yimtza ish. This is the pasuk. If in the field a man will find the nai amrasa, v'achzik ba ha'ish, and the man will grab her, v'shachad ima, and he'll live with her. Umeisa ish, that person should die. Asher shachad ima levada. That will live with her. V'la naida lo'isasa dova. You can't do nothing. Eila naida chet mavis. She doesn't get. She didn't do nothing. Okay, so Hakosu Meisa Ish Levadoi, the word Levadoi is Miyuta. It says that Anaida's potter because she was Ainus, she was raped. So therefore, what do we dashen from the extra Levadoi? That a case of Arusa that was a katana, and even though she did it willingly, but she's not a Basanchin, the husband will be Chai Misa. That's what we're going to learn out from Levada.
It could be Levada.
Yeah, Levada is extra to teach us for this case. By a Katana who did it willingly, but she's not a Basanchin. He's still going to be Chaim Isa. Says Gemara Katanoi. It's really, this thing is a machliks of Tanoi. It says Umeisugam Shnayim. It's mashma that Achi Hei Shnayim Shav until both are Basanchin. Rabbi Yeshua. That teaches us even if one of them is not a Baranchin, the one that sinned is going to die. He's going to get killed. So let's go back to Rabbi Yonason. What does he do with Umeisugam Shneim? But it says only if they're both Baranchin. My Dorishlei, Amarabara, Lemiyute Maisa Chidudim. Let's say the man lived with a woman, but he didn't live with her mamish. He got hard on her, and he rubbed against her, and that's what happened. So he had a nose, she didn't. In such a case, he's coming to exclude that day he won't be chayv misa. He says you don't need a pasuk for that. It's nothing. He didn't do any. You don't consider that as adultery. He did zero. What does he do with levada? It says levada. Even if one of them gets killed, even if the other one is not Bahrain, it's Madarish Bay, what does he dashin? Says Gemara Kedetanya, like we learned in the Braisa, Bo Allah, son of the Yodam Adayin Hipsula. If 10 people live with her and she's still because Shalei Kedaka, they live with Shalei Kedaka. Kulam Biskila, they all get skila because it's like each one is living with a psula, and therefore the chayv skila. Rabbi Yoina, no. He considers it's abiula, even though it's shalei kedaka. Arishim iskila, the first one.
Is considered
Abiula to him. So for the rishon is the skila, the kol mechanik, but the rest is like living with abiula, and they only get chenek. Tell me about Rabbanim Gilad. In this same Inyan, it says Ubas Ish Koyin. Remember, now we're talking about Ubas Ish Koyin. Ki Seichel is nice, that she will begin to commit adultery, then she's burnt in the fire. Beish Tisaref. Rabbi says, what does it mean? Seichel Tchila. The Seichel means the first one. And then it says this word, and the man who lived with her, Allah, he will die.
We're talking about a married woman here, about Basish Koyin?
Yeah, she committed adultery, Arusa.
Is it an Arusa or is it a Nisur?
It's Arusa.
Arusa.
Yeah. Zog the Gemara might come out. He says, Tchila, it's the first time. She never had a bia. Yeah. My comment says, what was Rabbi intending to say over here? Rabbi Yeshua, Rabbi Yishmael's Fidelei. Rabbi holds like the sheet of Rabbi Yishmael. The Omar that says, Dafka Baskoin Arusa Yotza went out of the cloud of Ashes Ishazinsa, which is normally Bechanek, to be Elias Besefa, that she should get punished by a Baskoin Arusa. She came out of the normal cloud where the punishment is Chanek.
No, it's skilled by Arusa, no?
Arusa by a Baskoin is Seifa.
Yeah, but if
It went out of but if she would have been married, then it would have been Chanek. We're talking about Bas Yisrael. Veloy Baskoin Nesua. I'm not a Baskoin Nesua. Baskoin Nesua. Then it's Chanek. V'hachikama. And this is what he's saying. Im tchilas bia business. If the first bia was an adulterous act, yeah, that means she was still a psula. The misah says b'seifa. She dies b'seifa. Either
this is about Baskoin.
Baskoin, but on if it's adultery after, that means after she's no more psula, then it's mechanik. Then she gets chanik. In fact, not frankly, the Gemara explains even more the end of the words of Rabbi. What is it, the kavanah when he says what does that have to do with the price of cheese of China? We're talking about here the daughter of a kohen for the first time committing adultery as a psula while engaged, and then you say the man who raped somebody. What does that have to do? Says Gemara ki hasam. So he's coming to tell you like the din of a night amurasa. Ma hasam betchilas bia kamishno. Just like over there when it says, you know what the pasuk is talking about over there? Over there it's talking about a man raped her, found her in the field. Remember the pasuk? He found the nighter, he grabs her, and he lives with her. So that person, that man who lived with her, he shall die, that lived with her, levadi, he himself, because he did it against her will. So just like over there was the first bia, and that's why it's skila, because normally it's chenek. If she had a bia, if there was a bia from before, it would be chenek. So just like there, you're talking about the first bia, it takes it out of the normal cloud of chenek. Here also we're talking about that when the Bas Kohen is Chayiv Sefer, is talking about the first bia when she was a night amurasa. The Gemara brings another piddush. Rebbe didn't learn. My Rebbe didn't teach this way. Manu, who was his Rebbe? Rabbi Yosef. He says, Rebbe Meir Svidalei. Rebbe holds like a Meir. If she was married to either a mamzer or a cholol, misas mechanik, and then she committed adultery after being married to a cholol, and she committed adultery, then she's not considered as Bas Kohen anymore. She's no more Bas Kohen once she marries a cholol or a mamzer.
Well, even if she marries Yisrael, no?
Of course, but I'm saying even so he says, so it's not going to be B'Sefer. This is the kavanah of Rebbe.
Can we say that only B'Sefer if she's still Arusa?
Arus, that's what he's saying. Here's the limud. If it was her, the first bia was a znusdika biznus, was still Arus, then it's B'Sefer. The Eidah, but if it's any other case that she was married to a cholol or she was married to a mamzer, and then she lived with another man, then it's B'Chenek. In fact, you want my B'Chein. What does it have to do with the price of cheese of China? They're talking about being honest, a regular woman in a field. What does that have to do? It says Siman B'Yamu. It's just a Siman to remember that it's the first bia that she committed adultery. The first bia is giving a simon from that pasuk, which talks about it was the first bia that adultery was committed.
Yeah, they would just finish the two lines.
No, I'm up to the Mishnah. I just did
Oh,
it.
you said them?
Yeah.